welcome to Sing for Your Supper. I'm Mara Norris, and today I'm going to show you how to rethink Thanksgiving. So I'm going to show you tons of recipes to make your Thanksgiving nice and healthy, but also I want you to keep up with my blog and look for the tips, not just about how to cook for Thanksgiving, but how to think about Thanksgiving. I've got lots of great tips on there, so I really want you to check that out. And if you have anything you want to share with me, please do that. So, first thing I'm going to start with is I'm going to make a stuffing. You know, lots of people use the stuffing in the box, and it's fine, but you know what? It's not that difficult to make your own, and I think whenever you possibly can make something from scratch, you should, because it's going to taste so much better. So, this is actually a recipe that I modified from a big turkey restaurant that I used to work at when I was a teenager. So this is really their recipe, but I'm lightening it up, making it more healthy, and I'm actually going to add a few more fun little ingredients. So the basic start to the stuffing is celery, onions, and parsley. They used to call that C&O. So I've already washed my celery, and just be careful with celery because it can tend to be a little bit sandy or gritty. So I'm just going to cut off the ends and just going to chop it up into big slices, and it doesn't have to be that big, that small, because we're going to whiz it up in the food processor. And I already had an onion left over from lunch, so I'm just going to cut that up. And I'm going to cut one more, cut off the ends, cut it in half, and then that makes it nice and easy, gives you a little bit more surface area to take the peel off. And actually today we're going to save all these little scraps because I'm baking a chicken with the stuffing in it, doing double duty like I always try to do. I'm going to show you how to make stuffing, show you how to stuff a bird, and I'm also going to have dinner for my family, and then I'm going to use those chicken bones to make stock to use in my recipes for Thanksgiving. So I guess that's triple duty. Alright, so we got about 2 stalks of celery in here, and we've got about a 1.5 small onions, and I've got my fresh parsley. If you watch or read my blog, I have on there, I'm saying everything this year I'm going to do fresh, fresh, fresh. So fresh ideas, fresh ingredients, fresh herbs especially, because fresh herbs just make everything so much more vibrant. Okay, so I'm going to put about probably 1/4 cup of fresh parsley, and when I get my herbs home from the store, I just plop them right in a cup of water, so it keeps them nice and fresh. I don't ever try and keep them in the refrigerator, because don't forget they're still living, so you know, we want to try and keep them alive for as long as possible. Okay, now I'm going to add water to this mixture. This is about, let's see, that was about 2 cups. So put it in there, whiz it up, and then we're going to drain most of the water off. So the next thing I'm going to prepare for my stuffing is mushrooms. I like to put mushrooms in the stuffing because I think it adds a nice moisture to it, and it just gives it a nice more depth of flavor. And you can just break those up, throw it right in the food processor, whip it up. I don't want these chunks to get too little, so just pulse it in quick little bursts so it just gets it into little chunks, but not pulverized. And that is all it takes. I mean, that was like 10 seconds. If you chopped up those mushrooms, you'd be there all day. So if you do not own a food processor, go spend the $30 on it, because it is going to save you so much time and energy that you could be spending on other things. Okay, so I've got my C&O, I've got my mushrooms. Next, I'm going to add apples. I love apples in stuffing. I think apples with poultry is just a great combination. And so I've got one of my favorite kinds of apples here. It's a Cortland apple. It's nice and crisp and nice and fresh. To me, I think the easiest way to chop up an apple is to cut it in quarters and then just take your paring knife and cut out the core and flip it over. Just peel it with that same knife. I don't bother with a peeler. I think this is just much faster, and plus gives me a little snack while I'm cooking. So I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm also going to whiz it up in that food processor. Okay, got my apples in the food processor, and I'm just going to pulse it a couple times because I want nice big chunks in my stuffing. Looks good. That's all it took. Alright. Put those in my bowl. Alright, already we've got celery, onions, mushrooms, apples. Noticing a trend here? So it's not just bread and eggs. It's apples, mushrooms, celery, onions, fresh herbs. I'm going to add some nuts in here. So it's going to add all this flavor, but it's also adding nutritional value, which we all need. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is get started on making the stuffing. So now that we've got our vegetables all in there, I'm going to take my bread. I just have a loaf of bread here. Now I usually try to use wheat bread, but I actually tried wheat bread stuffing one year, and it came out really dry and tasteless. So, you know, it's just one day a year, so that's okay. I actually got a white wheat bread, and so it's still whole grain, but it's got a little bit lighter of a flavor than the wheat bread does. So I'm just going to use my hands, my best tools, and just break up that bread.